Hello dear. I'm Grandma Nora. Let me tell you a story you might never forget. When my daughter-in-law told me to pack my bags and leave, I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I just smiled. A small, quiet smile. The kind you give when your heart is breaking but your pride won't let it show. I stood there in the kitchen, the same kitchen where I had cooked thousands of meals. The same kitchen where I taught my son how to crack eggs when he was 5. The same kitchen where I baked my first cake for my daughter-in-law on her birthday. And now, she was telling me it wasn't mine anymore. This house belongs to us now, Mom, she said. Her voice was calm. Too calm. We need our space. We need to live our own life. My son stood behind her. He didn't look at me. He just stared at the floor like a child caught doing something wrong. But he said nothing. Not a single word in my defense. I felt something break inside me that day. Not loudly. Just a quiet crack. Like ice on a frozen lake when spring begins. That moment changed everything. When they forgot my birthday, I didn't get angry. I didn't cry. I just stirred my tea a little longer than usual. There's a strange quiet that lives in moments like that. Not the peaceful kind. The kind that sits beside you, too close, like an uninvited guest. I remember the morning clearly. Sunlight slipped through the curtains like a gentle whisper. The house smelled of warm bread and yesterday's laundry. A normal day. Only, it wasn't. I waited. Not impatiently. Not dramatically. Just quietly. Like you wait for a song you already know the rhythm of. No phone call came. No knock on the door. No, "Happy birthday, Mom," shouted from the hallway. I sat at the table wearing a soft lavender sweater I had ironed myself the night before. I even put on my pearl earrings, the small ones Daniel bought me long ago, the ones that still carry a little bit of the woman I used to be. I looked around the room. Family photos smiled back at me from every corner, birthdays, picnics, graduations, candlelit cakes with uneven frosting. So many memories I once glued together with both hands and a full heart. I whispered out loud, almost to test if the walls still recognized my voice. "It's only a day, Nora." But the ceiling didn't nod. The coffee didn't answer. And suddenly, the day felt a bit heavier, like a coat I didn't remember putting on. That was when a gentle truth washed over me. It wasn't the forgotten date that stung. It was the quiet realization that I remembered everyone so loudly. And nobody remembered me at all. But even in the quiet, love leaves clues. Sometimes small ones. Sometimes silent ones. So I sat there, breathing soft, choosing to hold on to those clues instead of the hurt. My name is Nora. Most people call me Grandma these days. I'm 67. My knees sound like popcorn when I stand up, but my heart still holds rhythm. I met Daniel, my late husband, when I was 17. He wore faded jeans and soft kindness in his eyes. He didn't sweep me off my feet. He simply stood beside me long enough that I didn't want to walk without him. He loved quietly. Not with loud speeches or dramatic gestures. He loved by fixing things before they broke, making sure the car never ran on empty, buttering my toast before I even reached for the knife. We married early. Not because we knew everything. But because we knew enough. Life was simple. Sometimes hard. Often loud. Always full. We had 2 children. Our son, Mark, serious thinker, gentle steps, wide heart. Our daughter, Elise, spark in her voice, adventure in her bones, laughter like loose confetti. We weren't rich. But birthdays were our tradition, our treasure, our golden hour. Daniel believed birthdays should start with noise. He would play his old record player at sunrise, scratchy music, loud enough to pretend the world was celebrating too. I baked cakes that leaned a little to the left. Too much sugar. Not enough decoration. Always enough love. Mark would blow candles with careful, quiet wishes. Elise would blow them with dramatic force, like a tiny hurricane. Then life grew bigger outside our door than inside our kitchen. School, jobs, distance, bills, adulthood. Birthdays got quieter. Then smaller. Then rushed. Then Daniel got sick. Cancer came softly. No announcement. No warning bell. Just a slow, quiet takeover, like winter creeping through cracked windows. He didn't complain. Not once. Even at the end, all he whispered was, "Make sure the kids eat well." On April 4th, a quiet Wednesday, he took his last breath with his eyes half open, like he was still checking the world before leaving it. I held his hand long after the machine stopped humming. After that, birthdays sounded different. The song was the same, but the music had faded. Mark married Claire soon after. Claire was smart, organized, business-minded. Lovely in her own way. She loved in schedules, plans, and color-coded calendars. Elise moved overseas. Her wings were always bigger than our house. She was meant for other horizons. At first, she called every Sunday. Then every other Sunday. Then birthdays only. Then texts instead of calls. Then texts that sounded rushed, friendly, but busy. I understood. Life doesn't get slower just because you want to hold someone longer. Then Mark and Claire had a little boy, Lucas. Chubby cheeks, curious eyes, laughter shaped like sunshine cracking through clouds. I became Grandma Nora overnight. And oh, the world softened again. I knitted blankets, packed snacks, baked cupcakes shaped like animals that no animal would ever claim. I babysat. Read stories. Kissed scraped knees. Hid vegetables in pasta sauce like a magician. Claire appreciated me, truly. But appreciation and remembrance live in different rooms of the heart. I became their constant. Christmas dinner. My house. School projects. My dining table. Emergency babysitting. My open door. Birthday cakes, always homemade. Favorite flavors memorized, written nowhere. I never said no. Not once. Not because I had nothing else to do. But because love, to me, was never about convenience. It was about presence. Still, presence doesn't guarantee visibility. Last year, Mother's Day came and went quietly. Mark remembered the next week. Claire apologized sincerely. Elise sent flowers that arrived 2 days late with a note that read, "Love you to the moon, Mom, sorry, things are crazy." I pressed the note to my heart anyway. Some gifts are not in the timing, but in the trying. So when my birthday came this year, I told myself, don't expect it. Just enjoy the day as it comes. And yet, a quiet part of me hoped. Hope is a stubborn little candle, isn't it? It burns even when you whisper for it not to. The night before my birthday, I made soup. Carrot and ginger. Daniel's favorite. I don't know why I made it. Maybe muscle memory. Maybe longing wearing an apron. The kitchen clock ticked louder than usual. Tick. 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 I told myself it was only a sound. But some sounds fill space. And some sounds underline absence. The next morning, the house felt different. Same objects. Same walls. Different silence. I watered the plants slowly. Fed the stray cat that visits the porch. Made tea. Saturday. The phone stayed quiet. By noon, I decided to walk to the park, hoping movement would soften the weight of waiting. Children played tag. A young couple giggled over melting ice cream. An old man fed birds like he knew them by name. Life continued loudly around me, unaware of the small empty space in my calendar. On the bench, I heard Daniel's voice in my memory. Nora, life still counts even when we don't clap for it. I smiled. Not a sad one this time. A remembering one. By late afternoon, the front door finally opened. Lucas ran in first. Backpack swinging, shoes untied, face glowing with tomorrow's ideas. "Grandma. Look what I drew," he said, holding up paper with stars, dinosaurs, and what looked like a flying sandwich. Claire entered behind him, keys and groceries in hand. Mark followed, loosening his tie. Normal rhythm. Normal chaos. No balloons. No candles. No chorus of birthday voices. Claire bent down. "Lucas, wash your hands." Mark kissed my cheek. "Hi, Mom." Their voices held warmth. Just, not remembrance. I stirred the soup again even though it didn't need stirring. "Smells great," Claire said. "Carrot ginger," I answered softly. Lucas tugged my sleeve. "Grandma, can we read the truck book later?" "Of course, sweetheart," I said. The day unfolded normally. Plates, spoons, small conversations, homework checked, vegetables gently negotiated, laundry folded into tidy squares like surrender flags. At 8 p.m., Lucas climbed into my lap with warm weight and drowsy blinks. "Grandma, you smell like hugs," he murmured. Something pressed softly behind my ribs. Bittersweet. Warm. Heavy. As I carried him to bed, he whispered, "Stay for the star story?" I told it slowly, adding extra softness. One star felt forgotten, so the moon held his hand. And even when the sky looked empty, he was never alone. His breathing slowed. Then deepened. Then floated into sleep. I tucked the quilt around him. Then I whispered the part one hadn't said out loud before. "And some stars love brighter in silence than they do in celebrations." I kissed his forehead. Downstairs, the house had dimmed into night mode hums, refrigerator, wind, settling wood, dreams walking down hallways. I washed dishes slowly. One, by one, by one. No drama. No breaking point. Just a soft fading. Mark joined me at the sink, rinsing cups. Tangible comfort. Silent oblivion. "How was work?" I asked. "Busy," he said. "Always busy." Life's universal answer. We didn't speak for another minute. Then he said, "Mom, you okay?" I almost laughed. Not because it was funny. But because it was honest, and honesty lands heavy when it arrives late. I dried a plate. "I'm okay, Mark." He believed me. I could tell. Because sometimes the truth you carry quietly hurts less than the explanation you would give out loud. Later that night, after everyone slept, I found myself back at the same kitchen table. Tea. Half warm. Chair. Slightly creaking. Clock. Still ticking. I opened my drawer, the one with old receipts, spare buttons, postcard stamps, and memories disguised as clutter. Underneath everything was a small tin box. Inside were letters. Birthday cards made by tiny hands with uneven spelling and crooked hearts. "Mom, you are the best baker in the universe." Mark, age 7. "I wish you 200 birthdays because I love you 200 much." Elise, age 6. "Grandma, you hug like sunshine." Lucas, age 4. I ran my finger over each word like braille for the heart. A tear fell. One drop. Quiet. Not tragic. Not dramatic. Just real. And then came the shift. Not a breakdown. Not a storm. But a small, firm truth settling into place like a stone finding the bottom of a river. I realized then, clearly, calmly, completely. I had been waiting to be loved in the same language I spoke love. But love speaks many languages. And mine wasn't the only one. I loaned my heart out in cakes, candles, and remembered details. They gave theirs back in rushed hugs, tired smiles, busy care, and unspoken gratitude. Not equal. Not identical. But real. Different isn't broken. Different is just different. Nobody erased me. They misplaced the moment. And moments can be found again. I closed the letters gently. Not in grief. But in understanding. For the first time that day, my exhale was softer than the silence around it. I whispered, "Happy birthday, Nora." The room didn't answer. But something inside me did. The next morning, I woke before sunrise. Not sad. Not bitter. Just awake. I brewed coffee instead of tea. Bold, dark, fragrant. The kind that says, "I'm still here." I dressed with purpose. Blue blouse. Pearl earrings. The works. Not for applause. For self-acknowledgement. When Mark came down the stairs, he paused. "Mom, why are you dressed so fancy?" I smiled without shrinking. Because yesterday was my birthday. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was human, surprised, embarrassed, sincere. "Mom," he murmured softly. I raised my hand gently. No hurt. Just honesty. Claire appeared in the doorway, mouth slightly open. "Oh. Nora." "No guilt," I said. "Just presence." Lucas shuffled and rubbing his eyes. "What birthday?" "Mine, sweetheart." His face lit up like sparklers were stored in his cheeks. "Grandma. We need cake." And just like that, the house erupted. Not because everyone suddenly remembered perfectly. But because love, when awakened, moves quickly. Flour dusted countertops. Eggs cracked. Laughter bumped into cabinet doors. Mark attempted frosting and lost a small battle. Claire found candles. Lucas kept counting them and losing track. It wasn't polished. It wasn't planned. It was alive. At 9:17 a.m., random, imperfect, real time, they sang. Off key. Off tempo. Full heart. I closed my eyes and let it wash over me. Not as repayment. But as reunion. I made a wish before blowing out the candles. Not for remembering. Not for perfection. Just this. Let love feel seen, even when it comes in quiet forms. Lucas hugged my waist. "Grandma, your wish came true already." Children speak truth without decorating it. We ate cake for breakfast. Because rules soften on found celebrations. Later, when the house quieted again, it was a gentle quiet. Not a lonely one. So here I am, telling you this story not because it was grand. But because it was mine. We often think love must shout to matter. But the older I get, the more I see. Love mostly whispers. We just need to lean in. Yes, they forgot the day. But they never forgot me. The remembering came late, imperfect, unpolished. But it came honestly. And sincerity, even delayed, still counts. If you ever feel unseen, misplaced, or quietly forgotten, pause. Look again. Not at the moment, at the pattern. Does love show up when needed? In small ways? In tired ways? In human ways? Then it's not absent. It's just speaking a different language. And sometimes, love doesn't need a birthday to prove it exists. Sometimes it only needs your heart open enough to notice it. I nodded slowly. I understand. You're looking for a new house. No, she said. We want to stay here. I blinked. Stay here? Yes. This house is perfect for us. It's big enough for Emma to grow up in. The neighborhood is safe. The schools are good. But, this is my house, I said quietly. Laura's expression didn't change. Actually, Mom, we've been paying for most of the expenses for the past year. The utilities. The groceries. The repairs. We've invested a lot into this home. I didn't ask you to. We know. But we did. And now we need to think about what's best for our family. My throat tightened. What are you saying? Daniel finally spoke. His voice was barely a whisper. Mom, we think it might be better if you found your own place. Just for a while. Until we get settled. I looked at my son. My only son. The boy I raised. The boy I sacrificed everything for. He still wouldn't look at me. You want me to leave? I asked. My voice cracked. Not leave, Laura said quickly. Just, give us space. We'll help you find a nice apartment. Something small and easy to manage. We'll even help with the rent for a few months. I felt tears burning in my eyes. But I didn't let them fall. This is my home, I said. I worked 2 jobs to pay for this home. I raised my son here. My husband is buried 15 minutes away. My whole life is in this house. We understand that, Laura said. But things change, Mom. People move on. I stood up. My chair scraped against the floor. I see. Daniel finally looked at me. Mom, please. Don't be upset. I'm not upset, I lied. I need some air. I walked out of the kitchen. I grabbed my coat. I walked out the front door. I walked for hours that day. I didn't know where I was going. I just walked. I ended up at the cemetery where Thomas was buried. I sat on the bench near his grave and talked to him like I always did. They want me to leave, Thomas, I whispered. Our son. He wants me to leave. The wind blew through the trees. It sounded like a sigh. I don't know what to do. I feel so lost. I sat there until the sun started to set. Then I walked home. Slowly. When I got back, the house was quiet. Daniel and Laura were in their room. Emma was asleep. I went to my room. I opened my closet and stared at my clothes. My life packed into one small space. And I thought, maybe they're right. Maybe it's time. I didn't fight. I didn't argue. I just started packing. It took me 3 days to pack up my life. Clothes. Books. Photos. Little things that meant everything to me. Daniel helped me carry boxes. He didn't talk much. He looked guilty. But he still didn't stop it. Laura stayed in her room most of the time. She said she wasn't feeling well. On my last night in the house, I walked through every room. I touched the walls. I remembered. This was where Daniel took his first steps. This was where we celebrated his 10th birthday. This was where Thomas and I danced in the kitchen on our anniversary. Every corner held a memory. And I was leaving them all behind. Daniel found me a small apartment across town. 1 bedroom. 1 bathroom. A tiny kitchen. It was clean. It was safe. But it wasn't home. I moved in on a cold Saturday morning. Daniel helped me unpack. He set up my bed. He hung my curtains. Are you going to be okay, Mom? He asked. I smiled. That same small, quiet smile. I'll be fine, sweetheart. I'm sorry, he said suddenly. His eyes were red. I'm so sorry. I touched his cheek. You have a family to take care of. I understand. He hugged me. He held on tight. Like he used to when he was little and had a nightmare. Then he left. And I was alone. The first few weeks were the hardest. The apartment was so quiet. No baby crying. No footsteps overhead. No voices. Just me. And the silence. I tried to keep busy. I went for walks. I read books. I watched TV. But at night, the loneliness would creep in. It would wrap around me like a cold blanket. Daniel called sometimes. Once a week, maybe. The conversations were short. Awkward. How are you, Mom? I'm fine. How's Emma? She's good. Growing fast. That's wonderful. Okay. Well, I'll call you soon. Okay. I love you. Love you too. And then the silence again. Laura never called. 6 months passed. Then one night, my phone rang. It was late. Almost midnight. I answered, my heart pounding. Hello? Mom? It was Daniel. His voice was shaking. Daniel? What's wrong? It's Laura. She left. I sat up. What do you mean she left? She said she needed space. She said she wasn't happy. She took some clothes and left. Emma's crying and I don't know what to do. My heart broke for him. Where is Emma now? She's here with me. But she wants her mom. And I have to work tomorrow and I don't know how to. I'm coming, I said. I'm coming right now. I drove to the house. My house. The house I used to call home. Daniel opened the door. He looked exhausted. Lost. Emma was in his arms, her face red from crying. I took her gently. Come here, sweet girl. She calmed down almost immediately. She laid her head on my shoulder. Daniel started crying. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry. I should never have let this happen. I held Emma with one arm and pulled my son close with the other. It's okay, I whispered. I'm here now.